Good morning, this is Shancy. Let's get started on our webinar for customizing your report template. So basically the template is the foundation of your report. Every report that you build has your whole template attached to it, which means that all the comments that you have the potential to use actually live with that whole report. And as you're writing your reports, oftentimes the template starts to evolve on its own. Some people like to sit down and spend a lot of time on their template, meaning that they're not going to write the reports, they're going to spend hours modifying the template beforehand, and then they're going to go ahead and start to write reports, and if it starts to evolve over time after that, that's okay. So it really kind of depends on what you want to do. I'm the type of person who just likes to modify it as I go along, because sometimes you discover things as you go along and you can just change it on the fly. And we're just going to start from the beginning here. So I'm going to select a report template by coming over here to the left and clicking Select Report Template. There are several options in HomeGauge. I'm going to use the Residential by System, Single Summary Most Popular. You can choose whatever you like. The residential by system is a little more compact, whereas the residential by room is a longer report, but it's really just a matter of preference. For the template. And on the left you'll see your components, and obviously if you were writing report you would come into these sections for the customer and the report info. But right now we're just working on the template. So in a sense you're sort of starting a report, but not one that you would use. It's really just you can create this report, and it's not really going to be issued to anybody, but as you're creating it, you're going to be modifying the template. So what I like to do initially is, because all of our templates have very similar names, I like to rename the template just so that I know which one is mine and that it leaves the original one untouched if I want to do something else with it. So at the top left corner of the screen, I'm going to click on File up here at the top left, and it brings this drop-down menu, which gives me several options, and one of the options is Save Template As, which means it's going to save this Residential by System Single Summary template. It's going to copy the entire thing, but we're going to call it something else so that I can take it in the direction that I want to take it. When I do this, it's giving me an option here in the middle to name the template. It's currently called New Template, but I'm just going to call it My Master Template. You can call it whatever you like, and I will click Save. It's in residential on the left, so that's where I know I'll find it from now on. And you'll notice here at the bottom of the screen you can see the name of the template, My Master Template, so that I can tell that I've changed it. Okay? So up here at the top you have several template modifying tools, and as you get into your template these will light up. Okay? So right now I'm not in any of the components for my template. I'm just kind of on this main page. So if I navigate away from this, you'll notice that these keys will light up. So if I click on General Information, for example, this would allow me to use these tools to make changes here. Okay, so it really kind of depends on what you want to do, but this is the section you generally would start in. Whenever you're looking to do something, you kind of have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to change? So for example, this standards of practice down here on the left, you'll notice that it's excluded on default. Now if I wanted to include it for this one report, I would click in this X right here, and now it's included. But you'll notice nothing lit up at the top for my template modifying tools. It didn't, like Save T didn't light up. This means that the change that I just made was a report change, not a template change. So the next time I open this template, well, standards of practice is going to be excluded again. But if I wanted standards of practice to be included every time, I could make a template change, and we'll do that right now. So because standards of practice is highlighted on the left, that is the general item that I'm currently working in. So I'm going to use this Edit T button up here at the top, right here. And when I click on this, it's going to open up this standards of practice general item so I can make a change to it. So here's all my choices here that I currently have, and I can modify that while I'm in there. But you might notice that here it says exclude by default, and there's a check mark there. This means that when I open my template, standards of practice will be excluded. Well, I want it to be included from now on. I've already included it for this one report, but I want it to be included every time I open my template. So I'm going to uncheck that box. So now the exclude by default box is not checked off. When I say OK here at the bottom of the screen, you're going to notice the Save T button at the top right is going to light up. So I'm going to ask you to watch that. This little button up here, Save T, as soon as I click OK down here, this Save T button will light up. This is because it's a template change. Save T. So if I want that change to be there the next time, then I need to click this button. And I would tell you that each time you make a template change, watch for this Save T button and click it every single time. This is your clue that you did it right. So I'm going to click Save T. I see someone's asking a question, and I'm going to cover some of these. I'm not going to take questions as I go along, but you're welcome to post them, and I'll go back to them so that we can stay on time, and periodically I'll stop and answer questions. So, Jeff, I'll be with your question in just a few minutes. Okay, so now the standards of practice will be automatically included meaning that I can select it on Report Start. We have an attendance, any of these. So if anything on the left-hand side here you do not do in a report, like let's say you don't do radon testing, or maybe you say I'm not doing radon testing right now, but someday I might do radon, and I don't want radon to be active, meaning I don't want it to be included on Report Start when I open my template. What I'd like to do is exclude it, and then the next time I come in, if I decide to do radon, I'll include it. So if I highlight radon test and go to Edit T, I can check off this box down here next to Exclude by Default and say OK. Now when I say OK, the Save T button is going to light up, but that radon test general item is not going to be excluded because for this report I'll have to actually exclude it manually. So there's my Save T button. I can click that so the next time I open my template it'll be excluded. But for this particular report, I have to exclude it myself by clicking in that right-hand Exclude column. Okay? So that's basically how you can manage all these things. Now on the comment key or definition here, some people like to change this comment key or definition. And we're going to talk about redefining column headers and what it means for something to be inspected and making a template change there. So I'm going to revisit this comment key in a few minutes because this is what we call a comment that is there on Report Start. And changing it takes a couple of steps. It's not like you can just type in this box, so we're going to move on to that. Now Jeff's question was that he wanted to know if he can make a default standards of practice so he doesn't have to keep specifying one. Actually, there's not a way to do that. You would have to select it over here. You can eliminate these over here, but I'm not aware of one. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, there's not a way to do that. There's not a way to do that automatically. So you can eliminate what's here by highlighting, going to Edit T and saying, I actually just duplicated it inadvertently. But you can delete what's here and say, you know what, I have no intention of living in Kansas, or I don't know, Illinois, and just eliminate the ones that you would not use. But otherwise you do have to select it each time. Those were template changes I just made. Okay, so that's how you would work that. Now, if I come into components over here, this will bring the components to the middle of the screen. Everything that's in the middle is what's reflected on the left. So if you make a change here in the middle, you'll see a change on the left. Most people will use this the way it is. You can change the order if you want. So for example, if I wanted exterior to be first, I could click on exterior, and I can move it up using the up T, down T. I can move it wherever I want, move it up. Well, that's a template change. See how that lit up? I can click it. Now the next time I open this template, exterior will be first. Or I can say, I really preferred roofing to be first. I can move it down. That's a template change. Click Save T. So some of these features here, every house has these. Okay, so it really kind of depends on where you live. That some of these would be more important than others. For example, heating and central air conditioning. Well, some areas it's just so hot that maybe the heating is really not a primary concern. It's maybe harder to test the heating. It's a good portion of the year, or the air conditioning, vice versa. You can break those up if you wanted to. But what most people do in this section is they do something called duplicate sections. So let's say, for example, garage. Let's say you got to a house and you discovered that there was an attached garage as well as a detached garage. Well, if that's really common in your area, then you would want to make a template change. If it was not common in your area, you would want to just make a report change on the fly. But either way, you would have to do this one thing first, and that is create the duplicate section. So right now, there's this little section up here called duplicate sections. And even if you want to make a template change to change this one report, you're going to have to do this. So duplicate sections, okay? I'm going to click on this double plus sign, and I'm going to create subcategories of the garage on the fly. And that's going to also duplicate my inspection items. Where's my little mouse going here? Okay. So if I click this little plus sign, it now gives me these choices. Well, if there's an attached garage, so when I click on attached garage on the left, it puts it up here in this field. And then there's detached garage, and it puts it up in this field. And I can say, okay, now this is not a report, it's not a template change. I'm going to say, okay, I have my two subcategories, but you'll notice my Save T button didn't light up. That's because these tools over here are report changing tools. They're not template modifying tools. Okay? And what that can mean for you is, well, right now, maybe this isn't common for you. Maybe attached and detached garages on one site, not terribly common, no big deal, you could stop right there. But if you discovered that this was something that was common in your area, you could make a template change. And in order to make that happen, you would click on Garage, and now you would use your template modifying tools by going to Edit T. So what we have here is you have these two items in this list down here, attached and detached garage, right? Right here. Well, there's only a number 1 here, so this is assuming that I only have one of the items down there. But I need to change this to the number 2 to reflect the two things in this list, so that the next time I open my template, those two things will be subcategories of garage. And when I change this to a 2 and say OK, my Save T button is going to light up. So I had to make the report change first so it would be reflected in this particular report. But now I want to make my template change. Okay? Now there's my 2, because I want attached and detached to be two subcategories underneath garage. And I will say OK. My Save T button lit up. This means that when the next time I open this template, it will automatically have these two subcategories under garage. You have to change the report as well. So if I had just gone in there and done the action we just did and did not use the duplicate sections to create the subcategories on this report, well, those wouldn't have shown up. I have to go in and make the report change as well if I want it to be reflected in this report. So that's how you would use that. If you have heating and central air conditioning, so maybe you want to divide these up. Maybe you want a heating section and an air conditioning section. Currently, this section, heating and air, if I click over here on the left, it has all of the inspection items for both of them. Okay? Well, if I wanted there to be a component for heating and a component for air conditioning, well then I would need to duplicate this section and then eliminate the inspection items I don't need. So I'm going to click on Components, and let's copy this whole heating and air conditioning section. And I'm going to come up here and click on the Copy T button. What this does is it puts the heating and central air conditioning on your clipboard of your computer. You won't see anything initially, but you will notice that once I click it, this Paste T button is going to light up. So I'm going to go to Copy T. Well, now I just need to paste it back, and it's going to duplicate this whole section. And here it is at the bottom. So I can move it up by highlighting it and up T. I want to save my template. Now I have these two sections, but what I really need to do is modify it now. So if I click on the first one, and I come up here to Edit T, I can change this to just heating by eliminating all the air conditioning stuff. Say OK. And this one I can go to Edit T, and I can eliminate the heating. And say OK. And now I can save my template. The only thing that would be left to do would be to go into each component on the left. So I'm in heating now. I would need to come in here and eliminate all my cooling inspection items, because it just doesn't make any sense to have it in the heating. So I can highlight it and I can delete T. Yes, you can only do one of these at a time. And I don't need that one. Delete T. Yes. And we actually have, here's normal operating controls. That's for heat. This is normal operating controls for air. So you don't need two of those. Delete T. Yes, let's save our template. Then we could go into cooling and eliminate all the heating stuff. So here's heating equipment. Delete T. We can delete the operating controls for the heating. And I guess this is all heating stuff. Distribution. Actually, that probably would have stayed. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. You're going to delete whatever has to do with the heating for this section. Obviously, fireplace and wood stove. And the rest of this probably looks good. Okay, so save your template. So now I've divided heating and air. So this could be really helpful in areas where it's either really hot, and so you have more of the cooling stuff you have to look at, or it's really cold and you have more of the heating stuff that you have to look at, okay? So that's how you can break that up. So that's how you can modify the components. If you wanted to add a new component for some reason, you could just use your Add T button. But if you add a new component, don't forget, you have no inspection items there. So I don't know, this is system by system, so pretty much everything here is created. I can say maybe guest house. We'll just kind of make one up. Add T, guest house. Right? And say OK. Well, there it is, guest house. But if I click on guest house on the left, I have no inspection items. So I would have to literally add inspection items for this guest house by using my Add T. I'd have no comments in my library, nothing. So you can add anything you like, but don't forget to add inspection items. I'm going to eliminate that guest house now because it's not really what we're doing, and save my template. So that's how you can modify your inspection items. I mean your components, rather. So as we come down and go through here, each one of these, you can actually add icons in your report representing the components. So let's say roofing, for example. If I come up here to Edit T, there's an option for me to include an image or an icon that I might like to show up next to the roofing section. And if I click in that little gray box there, HomeGauge has several options here, and I don't know if you can see that real well because they're pretty tiny. Let's see if I can make those a little larger. And if we come through here, I can pick one that looks like a roof. I think we have, there's one. Okay, and open. So now every time in my report next to roofing, there's going to be this little tiny image next to the roof component. And when I say click OK here, the Save T button will light up at the top right here, and I can click Save T. Okay? So watch for that Save T button. Watch for it. I don't say it enough. I can't say it enough. You should wake up in the middle of the night saying Save T, because in the end, if you don't see that Save T button light up, you did not make a template change. You made a report change. So you should be watching for it and clicking it, watching for it and clicking it. If you made a change that you think is a template change, and you look up at that Save T button and it's still gray, well, you made a report change. You didn't make a template change. And that means for this report, your change will be there but the next time you open this template, it will not. So that Save T button is your best friend. It's your best friend when learning how to do this. And as you get the hang of things, not so important. You're going to know if you're doing it right. But when you're initially learning, that Save T button is your clue that you did it right. Okay? You can add icons for all these components, obviously. So as we come through here now, we're going to come into our inspection items. If you needed to add new inspection items, you could use the Add T button. If you wanted to break up skylights, chimneys, and roof penetrations into just skylights and just chimneys, you could copy this and modify it just like we did before. So let's just say if I come up here and I go to Copy T, and then I paste it. It goes to the bottom, and I can move it up. These are all template changes. Now I can change this. So go to Edit T, kind of like I did a minute ago, and I can just get rid of, let's say, skylights. And now I just have chimneys and roof penetrations, and I can just change this one to skylights by going to Edit T and eliminating these. And now I have separate inspection items for that. All right? And that kind of breaks things up however you want to do it. It all just kind of depends on your preference. Everyone has their own style. Let's see here. I have a question. All right, so I have someone else who asked a question, and I'll be answering it in just a minute. We haven't. All right, so this is regarding what your question doesn't have to do with the template change, but I will address that towards the end if I have time to answer questions not on topic. But I'll be happy to answer your question about your inspector information. So anyway, now you can add things here. But if you wanted to add a comment, let's say you're in roof coverings, and you wanted to add a comment here. You come to your magic wand, or you double-click on roof coverings, and here's all of the comments in your local library for this inspection item. And you don't see the one that you want here. Okay, well, you need to add one. So you can hit Cancel, and you can then type in this box. This is my great comment. This could be a paragraph long. It can be, you know, it's meticulously written, no spelling errors, we love that, and you never want to type it again. Well, currently, actually, let me save my template because I had just made those inspection item changes. This is my great comment. It's not in my library yet. I want to save it to my library. I'm going to click the magic wand with the plus sign here, right above here. Right here, so you have these little tools. This one is to find your comments that are currently in your template. This one is the magic wand with the plus sign, and this is to add a comment that you've typed into the box below, and you want to add that to your library, okay? And that's what I'm going to do here. So I click the magic wand with the plus sign. You want to give it a short name. Always give it a short name, because that way you can sort the list and you can find it more easily. And once I give it a short name, I'll say OK. But now I need to pick a category. When you are adding comments, always, always pick a category. This list right here for categories, it doesn't necessarily have to match your components. Okay? These categories here are in all inspection reports. And because you can modify these components on the left, the software is not going to make an assumption that of where you want this comment. So I'm going to scroll down to roof, and I'm going to select roof coverings. Okay? And I will say OK. When I say OK, the Save T button is going to light up. Save T. Okay? Now I'm going to erase this comment just to give you an example. And now when I go into roof coverings, double-click on roof coverings, and scroll down to the bottom, there's my great comment. Because I categorized it, well, these are all roof coverings, but you can see that if there were other categories here, it would sort it for me. Or I can even put it in alphabetical order. See? It will put it all in there. It will alphabetize it for me. See right here, by alphabetizing, or it'll go ascending or descending, okay? So there's my comment. And so I've added a comment. Now, this comment, I have to, when I'm doing my inspection, I determine whether or not this is a summary item. And currently, if I click in the Repair Replace column, it sends this item to the summary, because a repair replace or a deficiency is a summary item. And you'll notice this little box at the bottom gets checked off, okay? So if I uncheck the repair replace, you'll notice that that box gets unchecked. See, there's no check mark down there now. So let's assume this is a repair replace item. Well, it's going to the summary now. If there's a couple of ways to send something to the summary. Number one, you can use the column for repair replace. Number two, you can tell the comment itself, when I pick you, I want you to go to the summary. Okay? So if I uncheck repair replace, and I'm going to clear out this comment, let's go back in, and let's say we go into the comment I just created. Well, I need to tell this comment to go to the summary when I pick it. I'm going to click the wrench, and down here it says Select Summaries. The bottom left here, right down here. I want to select the summary that this comment will go to when I put it in my report. General Summary, and say OK. Now you see that it says Auto Select Summary, and it has the abbreviation for the summary. Say OK. When I come to this screen, you'll notice that there's these two columns, Summary and Auto. Summary means the comment automatically goes to the summary. Auto means the comment automatically shows up in your report when you open your template. So this one's currently going to the summary. I'll insert it, and you'll notice even without selecting a column, it goes to the summary. No column is selected, but it's going to the summary down here at the bottom left. Okay? I have a few comments coming in, so give me just a minute here. Let me just read these. Hold on just a second. I'm going to answer some of these. All right, so someone asked why I didn't click on the automatically include in the text box when I gave it a name. So when I come in here, when I created this comment, I came here and I gave it a short name, but there's this little sentence right here, automatically include this comment on report start. You only do that if you want the comment to be there when you open your template. Comments like your general info are comments that are there on report start because you need the general info information to define your column headers. You don't want to have to pick that. It's always there. So I'll give you an example of why you would automatically include something on report start and when we would do that. For example, the smoke detector. Let's do that one. So let's talk about this for a minute. So let's go into electrical, and we have smoke detectors. So the inspector goes in and he tests the smoke detector and says, oh, well, the smoke detector seems to be working fine. But he always tells them in his report, always, even though I tested the smoke detector, you really should test it again when you move in the house. He's always going to say that. So if I come in here to the smoke detector section and double click, there's a section in here that says the smoke detector should be tested at common hallway to bedrooms upon moving in the home. And currently that is not a comment that's there on report start. So if I highlight that comment and I go to the wrench right here, I would check off automatically include this comment on report start and say OK. Now I can see there's a Y here in the auto comment column, and I can insert it in this report for this one report. But the next time I select this template, because I'm about to save T, then that comment will be there without me selecting it at all. I won't even have to. I'm just actually going to show this right now. I'm going to just to show you. I'm going to go to New and grab that template again. And if I come over here to Electrical and go down to Smoke Detectors, there's the comment. I just started a new report from scratch. And that comment's there because I clicked off that box. If I clicked off that box for every comment I created would be in my template in the report. Like in the report I'm going to issue to my customer in every single one. And you'd be like, what happened? Why do I have all these comments in my report? So you're saving it to the template, which is a library of comments. But if you want it to be in the report on Report Start, well then that's why you would click that box. So I'm just going to go back to the report we were just working on. Okay, so we're just making template changes here, but that is why I did not check off that box, Cynthia. A couple other questions. Someone's asking me, how can we change the default type and size in the template? And I have to assume that you're meaning the final product for your customer. There's not a way to do that on the fly. Okay, our template comes in a certain way that the font size is coded in there. You can make the screen bigger for yourself, which is not a template change, meaning if you're having trouble seeing your comments or seeing your styles and materials, you can make those a little bigger on the screen for yourself, but those will not be changes for your customer. If you want a larger font or some other different type of a font, you would either have to know how to modify the style sheet, or you would have to tell us what you want, and we would give you a price as to what it would cost us to make that change for you. Because our software creates the report in that web presentation, it actually looks pretty large when they distribute it. When they print it, it's a little different because there's margin restrictions and everything has to fit in the margins. So, but there's not a way to change those things on the fly, or not for you to do on your own, unless you are familiar with the style sheet type things that we use, which isn't uncommon. Some people do know about it. So here we are, and now we've added a comment. Okay. Now some people like to change these column headers as well. So on default, HomeGauge uses inspected, not present, and repair replace. Some people like to change repair replace to deficiency, or maybe they want to add a column for maintenance items. That's fine. You can do whatever you prefer. But if you want to change these, number one, you do not want to be working in a real report when you change these column headers. If you change this in the middle of a real report, if you make a significant change, like you change the name of these column headers, you will lose content because you're going to be changing the meaning of the report. And so if you've already filled in part of it and suddenly you decide you want to change the word repair replace to something else, well, the software is going to say, well, clearly they didn't mean to put that comment in there because they're changing the whole meaning of their report. But I'll show you how to change that. If you come up here to the top left to template, you can edit column headers. It's going to warn you a few things. First of all, it's asking if you want to just change this section or do you want to change all sections. We can say all sections. It's going to warn you you could change the meaning of your report. Don't do this during a regular report. And then it brings us to this Edit Column Headers screen. I'm not going to change anything, but you can see by clicking under the inspected column that when I put a check mark in inspected, it means down here to use this column as a normal column in the report. The repair replace one uses as a normal column, but it also has these boxes checked off down here, which means that when I put a checkbox in my repair replace, it'll send that information to the summary. When I remove it, it will remove the information from the summary. Okay? So all of this is a sort of settings in here, and you can control a variety of things. So if I wanted to add a new one, let's just say safety. I could use this add column on the right. I know it's telling me that, well, actually, there we go. So I'm going to say safety, and I'm just going to say S for the abbreviation. Okay? It puts it over here initially. I need to move it to the left so that it won't be after the exclude. And I'm just going to use this as a normal column, and I'm not going to say anything else about it. And I'll say OK. It's going to warn me again. But now I have this safety summary right here, the safety column. Now, if I came down here to flashings and I could say safety, it would just say that this was a safety issue, and I could add a column. I don't know, the flashing is loose. Okay? So now I've added a column. That's a template change, so I need to save my template. So you can add that if you want. But what happens now, and we're going to go back to that general info comment, which is the comment that's there on report start, I need to change the definitions of my column headers now. So I've added a new column header. If I come back here over to general info, well, it doesn't tell me what safety, it doesn't say what safety means. It just tells me what the basic stuff was. So when you want to change a comment that is there on report start, this is how you do it. I say just erase the entire comment from the report. It's still in your template, but you have to erase it from the report so that you can fix it where it lives in the template and then reinsert it. So I'm going to come up here to the top where this little eraser is, and I'm going to clear all this text right now. Don't panic. It's still there. It still lives in your template. What I just did, not a template change. The Save T button did not light up. Okay? So no big deal. Now I'm going to come to the magic wand, and I'm going to find that comment where it lives. There's a whole bunch of choices in here. I'm going to scroll down until I come to comment key or definitions. That's the comment that was there. You can tell because the auto column has a Y in it, and that's the comment that shows up on report start. So I'll go to the wrench here. You'll see that this check mark is here. That's because that's the comment that's there on report start, and that's telling it to do that. So I need to change this here. I need to add something. So I'm going to come in here. And I want it to match, you know. I want it to match everything. So I'm going to highlight this and use my little keys up here to make it match. And I'll just make something up. Okay, so this is what it means when I say it's a safety issue. Now, I'm going to say OK because I want it to save that information. Now I'm going to reinsert it because I want that safety definition to actually be in this report. Insert as one comment. Here's my safety. My Save T button lit up. And the next time I come in here, because I clicked my Save T button, the new definition based on my column header will be there. So whenever you're trying to change, this is something that people get a little confused about. If you're trying to change something, a comment that's there on report start, just remember, if you're typing in this box here, you're just changing the report. See? Here's a bunch of X's I added in here. Well, my Save T button didn't light up. I cannot expect this change to be there the next time I pick this template. In order for me to make that change be there, I need to go in where this comment lives and change it. Which means I would erase it, go into this little magic wand and find it and change it in here by clicking on the wrench with the T. Okay? So you need to change it where it lives. You can't just type. That's important to remember. I've seen many people, it's not hard to do as long as you remember when I'm typing in here, I'm working in the report, I'm not working in the template. I need to go into the template. All right? So that's how you modify a comment on report start. So let's see, adding comments. Okay, so now let's look at some styles and materials. Actually, I'm going to address something about comments for a minute. So just in case you don't understand, when you come into your inspection items, this little list right here, this is what we call the local list. You could delete everything from this list, and your comments, these comments, would still be available to you in what we call the global list. So this list right here is just looking to a main directory of comments for this information based on the fact that these are the comments that would be used most at, say, wall claddings and flashings. Meaning that these are the comments you like to use for wall claddings and flashings. Okay? So this is a local list. The real list, the ultimate list of comments lives up here. Template, all comments, this is what we call your global list. Every comment that has the potential to be used in this whole template lives here. So if I come into a section here, for example, main driveway, right? The entrance to the building is accessible by the driveway. Well, if I look below here, it says that this is an unused comment. That means that there is not an inspection item in this entire template that actually has that comment in its local list. Okay? All of these are unused. If I come into appliances, here's dishwasher. Well, here is the dishwasher's loose. This is being used in a local list at the built-in kitchen appliances under dishwasher. So when I go to the dishwasher, when I click on that magic wand, I'll see this comment. If I delete this comment from that local list, it still lives here. So let's just look at that for a minute. Here's the built-in appliances dishwasher. This is the global list, and this is the permanent resting place, I guess, of all of the comments. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to come into kitchen appliances, and here's dishwasher. Here's the one that says the dishwasher's loose. I'm going to delete this from the local list right now. You'll notice down here it says category, that it's stored in the category in the global list under dishwasher. So it's also telling me where it's stored in the global list. Okay? So I'm going to delete this from this list. Use this little X with the T at the top right. Yes, I'm sure. Now it's gone, right? So I only have 2 comments here. I'm just going to hit cancel. I'm going to save my template. Now if I go back up to that global list under template, all comments, well, here's my dishwasher. Here's the dishwasher is loose, but now when we go down here, you can see that it's an unused comment. And that's because it's no longer available in that local list under dishwasher because I deleted it from there. Well, I could go back into that dishwasher and say, hey, wait a minute, I need that comment. I just need to look in my global list for it. So if I come back in here under dishwasher, I don't see my comment. I can use this plus sign with the T. There's my comment, and now I'm going to add it back to my local list by saying OK, highlighting what I want. There it is. I can insert it if I want to. And now I have to save my template because I added a comment from my global list to be available to me more quickly at my local list. So the real list is the global list, and the local list is just a path looking to what's stored in the global list. Okay? This means that you can use the same comment in multiple places. And let's say you have an advisory comment that you use. A general contractor should address this issue. Well, if you do that, you can then use that same comment and point it into several different places. So I'm going to come up here to the template, all comments. I'm going to add a new category on the left. I have all these categories on the left. This is what we would use for filters. Okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to comment categories. And at the bottom of this list, you see these little icons. And this plus sign with the T, this is something I can use to add a category. And I'm going to say advisory. Right? An advisory comment. What I think you should do about this problem. Or who should fix it or whatever. I'll say OK. Well, now I have my advisory, but I have no comments here. I need to add a comment. I can add the comment from here by going to the right and clicking this plus sign with the T and saying GC for general contractor. A this issue. Okay, hypothetically. That's what I say should be done because I discovered this problem. And say OK. There it is. And I say OK again. Well, you know what? It's showing up as an unused comment because it's only living in my global list right now. There's no local list that sees that. So now I can come to, say, exterior, and I can click on flashing and trim. My comment's not here. Okay. And I can go to the plus sign with the T to go find it. It's defaulting where I live. I visited last, so I highlight it, say OK, and now it's in this local list. Insert is one comment. My Save T button lit up because I added a comment from my global list to my local list. Okay? And I can come to all of these sections, interiors, or let's just say, I don't know, roofing. Okay? Roofing penetrations. It's not here, but I can go to the plus sign with the T and add it. Now I have it added in 2 places. Okay? Saving my T. What if I didn't like the words general contractor? I'm going to remove this from the report for the moment. What if I didn't like the words general contractor? I said, yeah, I probably should have said a professional or a certified professional or something along those lines. General contractor, that sounds like someone's building your whole house, right? I mean, I don't know. He does a whole bunch of other things. I highly doubt you're going to hire a general contractor to fix, one thing. He's going to hire someone. So let's change that. If I come up here to template and all comments, since I've only typed this comment once in the global list, and I've told 2 local lists to look at it, I can change the verbiage here and it will automatically change in those local lists. So I'm going to just click here and a certified professional should address this issue. I don't know. And we'll say OK. There it is. I'll say OK. Save my template. Now, when I come into here, there's my certified professional. It changed to that. And I can also go to my exterior, come to this again, and it changed to this one too, because it's all the same comment. It's all the same comment. They're all just using the same comment because the comment's appropriate to use in a whole bunch of different places. So you only have to type a comment like that once and save it and then point all your local lists to it, and then you'll just use it over and over again. Okay? The global list is the real list. The local list is just a path. It's just looking for the information at the global list. So now let's look at styles and materials. So let's look at siding style or siding material. We have this list on the right. So I need to add something new to the list on the right. I don't see the material that I need to see here. I need to choose a different one. So I have siding material highlighted on the left. I need to go to Edit T, and I'd like to add a new one. It's not here what I need. I'm going to use the plus sign with the T, and let's just add a new siding. Pudding, very, very common in my area. Pudding is so common, I want to move it to the top of the list. I'm highlighting it. Use my T, up T here, and just dee. There it is. And I can say, okay, that's a template change, save my T. Here's pudding, there's my siding material. So that's how you would add that. Now, if I wanted to add a new choice on the left-hand side, like a totally new, I'm not sure what you might add here, but if you wanted to add something new to the left with different choices on the right, you'd click Add T, okay? But if you're wanting to add something to the right, you're actually working in the section that you have highlighted on the left. So you need to edit the item on the left to add the choices that you see on the right. Okay? Now let's say that there's a material choice here that when I select it, I want a comment to go in my report. And I like to use EFIS as an example, synthetic stucco. I have siding material highlighted on the left. I'm going to click Edit T, and I'm going to scroll down till I see EFIS. There's obviously issues with EFIS, and you can indicate whether or not you do something about that. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that, and on the right I'm going to click Edit T because I need to change something about it. I want to add a comment to this material choice to go into my report automatically when I pick it, which means I need to modify the auto comment list associated with this material choice. Well, I don't have any right now, so when I click on that, I have nothing there because currently, when I pick EFIS, no comment goes in my report. I need to go find one right now. So if I click on the wrench with the T, the plus sign with the T, it's now navigating me to my global list because that's where all comments live. and I'm going to click on Filter. This is going to allow me to find the comments that I'm looking for. I don't need to know where it lives in the list. I can actually find it. So I can say EIFS, and find next, and now it has brought up every comment in my entire library that has that term in it. Once it finds it, I can hit cancel. So I have a couple of things here. One of them is specific to North Carolina. That's this one. The other one basically says, you know what, this has got synthetic stucco, and I didn't perform a test for possible water intrusion. If you want to pay me to do that, or you want to pay someone else to do that, that's your prerogative. So I'm just going to pick the one about not testing, and I will say OK. Now I have this comment that's come into the list to be associated with EIFS when I pick that material choice. I will say OK. And now I have this one comment. You can see right below it says one comment is included. OK. Now you'll notice something else. EIFS is bold now. That's how I know that there's a comment associated with that material choice. So I'll say OK. And actually, where that comment is going to go in my report is based on what it says down here for parent item. Inspection parent item. When I pick EIFS in my report, the comment's going to go under wall cladding, flashing, and trim, under my inspection items. If you want this to work, if you've created a new style of material, you need to be sure you pick a comment, an inspection parent item. I'll say OK. So now EIFS is bold here. I'm going to click EIFS, and when I do, it's going to say, we're going to throw this in your report. Now, Save T lit up because I added the comment to the material choice. EIFS, hey, I just threw a comment in your report just to let you know. Say OK. Now when I come to inspection items, it has a second comment right here. Some of the siding or trim in this home is EIFS, exterior insulation, and blah, 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 blah. Okay? It automatically goes in there. Now, from now on, when I pick that, it'll automatically put that comment in my report. So that's kind of a very easy way. There's probably a variety of things that you would use, a variety, asbestos, metal, anything. There might be something about rust or something about brick veneer not being real brick or whatever you want to call it. You can make it automatically go in your report. That's one less click for you. It's going to automatically go in there. Okay? Overview section. This is similar to the comments on report start. The reason these show up here is because that little checkbox is in the comment in the template. Okay, you can see the Y here. It's automatically included. If you didn't want that to be there, you could go to the wrench, uncheck the box, say OK. You don't want to insert it again. You could just hit cancel at this point, save your template, but for this report, you'd have to erase this comment because you don't want it to be in there. But the next time you come in here, the comment would not be there. These sections, headers, and footers are usually have to do with standards of practice. It's really kind of up to you. Okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is summaries. Let's see what we have here. I have a comment going to the summary right now. And currently I just have a general summary, but I can create a different summary if I'd like. I did create a safety column header. If I wanted to, I could create a safety summary. So if I click on Edit Summaries, I could go to Add T at the top, and now safety summary. So I'm going to actually call this SS for safety summary. And if I want the safety issues to go in my report with a particular color, I could then pick from this list. Let's say safety issues are, I don't know, blue. I would check off this box. All this is a template change. Say OK, Save T. Now, the problem I have right now is that safety summary and general summary, they're all like SS, and the general summary, the abbreviation is S. So I'm going to change the general summary abbreviation to something different so that it doesn't look too similar. General summary, Edit T, let's call this GS for general summary, or just G for that matter. And I want the comments to be red for my general summary, and say OK. So now, when I come into, say, roofing, this is a safety issue right here, and I can click off the safety summary. This one, actually this one right here. Safety summary. And this one right here actually was general. And because I had something in here, it could go there. Or we made the comment go there. But what we could also do here is tell the safety summary column, we could tell the safety column to always send the comment to the safety summary when we pick it. So I saved T because I added those summaries. If I come up here to template, all comments, no, that's not true. Template, edit column headers, it's going to warn me. I know. If I go to safety, I can come down here and click quick set summary selections. And then unset summary selections when I take the checkbox out, but I need to select my summary. Safety summary, highlight that one, say OK, say OK again. Yes, I know, it's warning me, save my template. This means that when I put a checkbox in the summary column, the SS, the safety summary, will automatically get checked off and be created. So if I go to preview my report now, you'll notice that throughout the body of the report, anything that goes to the general summary is red, anything that goes to the safety summary is blue. That happens in the body of the report as well as the summary. Let me get up here to the summary. These are separated out. So there's the general summary, and here's my safety summary. So you would have two separate summaries, okay? And that's how you can modify your summaries that way. Add new summaries, add colored text, and that type of thing. All right? So all of this stuff can be used to customize your template. You can even make an image go in the report. I'll do that real quick. You can make an image go in based on a comment choice. So let's say plumbing and hot water systems. So there's a comment in here that states the TMP valve on the water heater needs to be 3/4 threaded pipe to extend within 6 inches of the floor for safety. Maybe you got there and these folks did not meet those requirements. And what you want to do is when you grab this comment, you want it to include a little drawing of what it should look like since theirs is wrong. HomeGauge comes with a bunch of sketches and it includes this. So I'm going to highlight this one and let's add an image. I'm going to go to the wrench with the T. And at the top here, we have these little icons. This little house means it's for an image. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to navigate me to the files on my computer so that I can select an image that I want to be associated with this comment choice. Here's my current list that's available. It's not there. There's nothing there because I don't have an image going in. So I click the plus sign with the T. I'm just going to go into HomeGauge. And there's a file in there called Drawings. And there's Plumbing. So here's all my images. We have some of these. Let me see if you can see that. Some of these have notes on them, like what each component of the water heater is. And others have nothing. So you can pick either one that you prefer. I'll just pick this one and say Open. And I'm just going to, this is a short name that I'm going to give it. It's only for the inspector. No one's going to see that. I'll just say TP for TMP valve. And this is the image that will go in. Say OK. And now when I say OK here, you're going to notice, well, first of all, that we have this number 1 next to the little icon with the house. When I say OK, now that I have this highlighted, you'll notice that it shows that there's an image associated with this comment choice. And in selecting this comment, you'll see that the image will automatically pop up. Insert as one comment. There it is. I can put a little circle and say, here's where your problem lies. Say OK. There it is. And save T because I just added an image to go into my report based on a comment choice. And for now on, that image will go in when I pick the comment. Okay? So that is like the long and short of how to modify your template. There's so many choices. There's so many things that you can do. it's really, really customizable, and a lot of the stuff can be filled out for you as you go along if you know that you have certain things that go in based on material choices, or images you want to go in based on a comment choice, color coding your summaries, creating new summaries, adding new components, styles and materials. There's so many choices. I did have someone who had a question here, and it was kind of off topic, but it says in the miscellaneous section, how can an inspector info be printed on the report? I had something there, but it will not show. Okay, so inspector info, this is really just for you. It's so that you know, it's a note for yourself. If you want this information to show up on your report, you can add something. It's not going to show up in the body. It's likely to show up on something like a cover page or a back page. It's really not meant to be included in the report. So typically you might put under inspector info, you know, this realtor is very prompt, be sure to show up on time, or don't let the dog out, or don't let the cat out, or whatever you want to say. This information is really just for you. I don't know what kind of information you would want to include that you would type in here. If you want to indicate what you had in mind, I might be able to tell you a better place to put it. So I have Mr. Let's see, I guess your name is Bauman. If you have something specific, if you'll message it to me right now, and I can tell you if where you're looking to put that, it really should be in the inspector info section. If you wanted to include that, there's something on your cover page that you would include a merge field or something, and I would tell you to call us, and I would tell you how to do that. I would not advise that to be a standard information that you would include, so it just depends on what you're trying to include. But otherwise, I don't have anything else. If anyone has any questions, you can email me at shancy@homegauge.com, or obviously you can call us on our main number, or email support@homegauge.com, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. I hope everyone learned a little bit today. Sorry if the sound was a little questionable. It was weird not talking with a microphone. I hope the sound was okay from the computer. So, oh, let's see. He posted the some general advice. Some general advice. I'm going to open your mic and see if I can hear you, okay? So, because I don't quite understand what you mean. I'm opening your mic, Bauman. If you don't mind speaking, I could probably hear you if you have a microphone on your computer. Are you there? I can't hear you. Let's see. Hello? Yeah. Oh, I see. You don't have a microphone. No worries. Okay, so that being said, general info or general advice, I honestly would either put in the general info section, or if it's specific to the report, I would actually put it in a comment and just not send the comment to the summary. It really just depends on what the information is. If it's something that you always advise, like maybe you have a general thing you want to say, I would include it in the general info. But if you want to call me later and we could talk about specifics, I'll be happy to help you. But I guess that's about it. I hope you all learned something. Please let us know if we can help you. We do appreciate you. We know we wouldn't be here without you, and it's been my pleasure to host this webinar today. I'm going to disconnect, and y'all have a great day.